Never, ever give up. Just keep going forward. Never stop. It may seem like you have no chance. It may seem like it's over. Never, ever quit. If you're a quitter, I hope you quit right now and stop watching immediately, because you'll never make it.
Let's suppose that I have a job, but I have the feeling that I want to start my own business. How would I know that I'm the right kind of person for the entrepreneurial life?
To me, that's the best question you've asked, and it's also the toughest. Somebody has a family, has a job, they have a nice job, they get X dollars a week, they don't have to worry about very much, it's not going to be great, they're not going to live in Palm Beach, but you know what? They have a job, and it's income coming in. The hardest thing to do, in my opinion, in business, is to leave that job and become an entrepreneur, because you're risking your wealth, you're risking your family, your health, your family's health. You're really risking a lot. You have to know in your gut whether or not you have it to be an entrepreneur. Can you handle pressure? Can you handle all of the problems that you're going to be confronted with? And there'll be many, many problems. But the toughest job that somebody has, in my opinion, in business, is to know when to get out of something and when to go in something, because that's a very, very risky proposition.
What would be one word of advice you would have for an upcoming businessman?
Knowledge. Knowledge. But if it's one word's very hard for that, but the word is knowledge. But you get knowledge through experience. One of the things people talk about is luck. And I do believe that people are lucky, and some people are luckier than others. I do believe that. But there's also an expression, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I can tell you 10 instances where I didn't quit when it was 1990, the world was coming down, the debt markets were to everybody. All of my friends and enemies were going bankrupt. I never did. And the times were actually just terrible. And even today, you look at times and you see what happens, and you have to learn. But the word luck is very interesting. But if I didn't work really hard, I probably would not, almost definitely would not be here today. And unless you had me up as a man who at one point was successful, but let's see what a loser looks like. So you have to work hard, because it is true, you can develop luck through hard work.
I have a friend who was not successful at all, but was really up and coming, and he had a thing. He would only fly first class. I'm not saying do this, because for somebody it won't work, but he needed that mentally.
Right.
He wanted to fly first class because mentally he wanted to think he was the best, and that's it. And even though he didn't have much money at the time, this is years ago, he would always fly. I used to criticize him, but it put him in a good state of mind, and he became a very, very successful guy. Very, very successful. And I've always remembered that. He would never fly coach. He would always fly first class, even though he didn't have the means to fly. So, look, it's complicated, but whatever it takes to train that.
You want to be totally focused. You can't take your eye off the ball. When I had troubles in the early 90s, a major article came out, and it said very strongly, everything he touches turns to gold. And I believed it. So I'd go out with models at night instead of working. But that wasn't good. And I remember I had a big lease coming up, and there was a big show, and I went to the show. I said, don't worry, fellas, you can handle the lease, you'll get it done. Well, I came back, they didn't get it done, and I would have had it done 100%. And then the market crashed in the 90s. So I had trouble, but it was sort of an amazing, I wouldn't want to do it again. It was an amazing test of yourself. Can you handle pressure? How are you under pressure? Are you smart? You know, when everybody's coming at you.
Your first book, The Art of the Deal, begins with a simple sentence that many people might find hard to understand. You say, I don't do it for the money. Can you explain that?
Well, I do it because I love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. I have bad days, I have good days, I have days somewhere in the middle. But the end result is I love what I'm doing, and I don't do it for the money. And I make money because probably I'm not doing it for the money. I do it, and I do it well. I'm the biggest developer in New York. I love building buildings. I have a lot of fun building buildings. The fact is, I do it for fun, I do it for game, I do it for sport. I happen to make a lot of money doing it. If I didn't enjoy it, if I didn't really love what I'm doing, I wouldn't be successful. I wouldn't be sitting with you today.
And what's the implication of that for someone watching this who wants to create greater wealth? What's the message in that, do you think?
Well, the message is you have to love what you do. If you do it for the money alone, it's probably not going to work. I have friends where I tell them, get out of this business, which is a good business, and go into another business, which isn't as good a business, because they like the other business better. They'll do better in a less good business, so to speak, than they will in the better business because they like it. Going against the tide is great if it works. Now, it doesn't always work, and you really have to be smart to go against the tide because you're going against a lot of smart people. But when you get it right, you'll end up better, whether it's Microsoft or Google. I mean, so many people that have really hit big have gone against the tide. But you have to have great confidence in yourself. You have to be the right person. There are very few people that can pull it off, but when you pull it off, it's great. Same thing in real estate. You go against the tide. People are selling, you're buying, the tide changes. I have 5 children, but the 3 that are in business, and a lot of it's because of the success of The Apprentice, where they go on and people get to know Ivanka and Don and Eric. But a lot of that was early upbringing. I'd always say to them, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And now I add for Barron, and I'd drive them crazy. I'd say every time they'd leave, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. Repeat after me, and I'd have to repeat. They'd go, Ivanka would go, Dad, will you leave me alone? But I drum it into their heads. And you know, you have to get back, you have to get through those artificial barriers. I call them artificial barriers because you can do something about it until it's too late. Once it's in your system, it's very hard to stop. Like, I don't drink, and it's very easy for me not to drink. I tell people, what are you drinking for? What are you drinking for? And they don't even understand what I'm saying.
So
because it's so hard.
how did you, it's amazing when people see you, they can't imagine. No alcohol.
Oh, would I be in trouble if I was a drinker? With my life.
No smoking.
Yeah, no smoking. Well, I had a brother.
No drugs.
I had a brother, Fred, who was sadly an alcoholic, a serious alcoholic, and he was the best-looking guy you've ever seen.
And he was much older than you.
He was much older. He was 10 years older than me, 11 years older than me, and he was as good-looking a guy as you've ever seen. He had everything going. The best personality. I have like a bad personality compared to Fred, but he started drinking, and he also smoked a lot. But he started drinking, and I think it started in college, frankly, but it got progressively worse. And he was really unable to stop. And he'd always tell me, don't you ever drink. So he was much older than me, and it really has an impact, you know, when you have that kind of an age difference. But he'd point, don't you ever drink and don't you ever smoke. He'd add the smoking in because he smoked and he drank. And it hugely affected his health and hugely affected even his look and his, you know, the whole bearing. And every time he'd see me, he'd say, don't you ever drink and don't you. So I never drank. I mean, I really, when you talk about my father, I learned a lot from my father, but I learned a lot from my brother Fred. And he set an example. It wasn't maybe the example that people would think, but it really was, in its own way, an example.
Never, ever give up. You can change and you can move around, but never, ever give up. I know people that are very smart. They went to the Wharton School of Finance with me. I know other people that aren't as smart, and those people are the top people in industry today, and they just were tougher. They didn't give up. And the smart ones had everything on their plate. They'd always come in with the A+ on the tests and the good boards and everything else. But when they ran into problems, they didn't know how to solve the problems like the guys that weren't as good. And it's very seldom that you see something other than this happen. So never, ever give up.